You're listening to the SClubBeat with Dale and KATEY.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the SClubBeat. I am Dale.
And I'm the Hamburglar.
And this is Hamburglar KATEY. She is really pumped, KATEY. You're really pumped today, right?
Everybody get pumped.
Everybody get pumped because we are here to discuss the third and the best television series that S Club ever did, Hollywood 7, also known as S Club 7 in Hollywood. What is the difference between LA and Hollywood, KATEY? Do you know?
Nothing.
Nothing is different, so I'm very confused.
Sets are the same. Like, not the sets, the areas they're in are the same. It's not like they went from, like, Venice to, like, downtown Hollywood or something. Like,
Exactly.
literally in the same locations. Like,
It's beautiful.
nothing's changed.
No cafe, though. No cafe.
I'm sad. No cafe,
Yeah.
no beach house,
No Linda
no
Perry.
trainee. Yeah.
Did I say Linda Perry? Is that the right name?
I
Linda
thought
Blair.
I thought I just said Joan instead of Joni, so I mean,
We're just messing up names over here on the S Club Beat in the intro, KATEY. Don't worry, we are good S Club fans. But KATEY, do you know who we have?
Courtney.
We have Courtney all the way from the great country of Canada. It is its
That
own
just
country.
reminded me of Bring It On for some reason when I said that. The intro?
I love Bring It
Courtney.
On.
Yeah.
It is
whatever.
Courtney. Yes,
And this is
but-
thanks to Courtney. That's why I'm wearing it.
Yes. I also have one on the way. It just did not arrive in time, so I'm just wearing my good old hat.
I also have some S Club socks from Catherine, but I can't find them right now.
Oh, we love Catherine.
There's some
But anyway.
room, but yeah.
Without further ado, KATEY, are you ready? Are you
I'm
ready
ready.
to welcome our friend Courtney all the way from the great country of Canada?
Yes.
Okay. So without further ado, hi, Courtney. You have to say hi, KATEY.
Hi.
Hello, friend.
Hi, Courtney.
Hi.
Welcome to the S Club Beat. We love to have you here.
Thank you.
Good to have her here.
We're so excited. So today we are going through Hollywood 7. We're going to do our first 4 episodes. And then next week we'll have 4 more episodes. And then the week after, I think it'll be 5 episodes on that last one. Because they do 13 episodes randomly. I don't know. But just to start off, I do have some opening notes. There is no, like, magazine like they had for Miami and LA, so my facts aren't as expansive as last time. But I do want to start with that Hollywood 7 was allegedly filmed between July and August of 2002.
Yes, it was.
Allegedly. It was allegedly filmed during this time frame. There's no proof.
Boards are proof.
I don't.
I got the
there's
clapboards
no
on
proof.
the Discord.
There's
It says
no
the dates they
proof.
were filmed.
There's
It was
no
not
proof.
filmed before S Club Party Dale. It was filmed after S Club Party.
There's no proof. But anyway, so it aired between September 27th, 2001 and December 20th of 2001. This is the only TV series that did not feature a special after it. So the last special that we received was artistic differences, or was it Christmas special? Last one was Christmas special, yes. It features Barry Williams of Brady Bunch fame, Mr. Barry Williams. Did y'all watch the Brady Bunch?
Not really.
Okay.
I mean, I've seen it, obviously, but I mean,
The only thing I know is Marsha.
I know the
I did
Sure
watch
Jam.
on Dancing with the Stars, though.
Was he good?
Yeah, he was okay. I mean, he's older at that point, so it's just a different class of their own.
Do you think he remembers S Club?
Yeah.
I would hope so.
Anyway, the last fact I had is that the theme song, which we discussed in the Don't Stop Moving episode, the theme song to this was You, which is the only lead single, which is the only theme song to not be the lead single. So for Miami, we had Bring It All Back. For LA, we had Reach. For Viva, we had Alive. And for this, we had You, which was the 3rd single from the album. How do you feel about You, Courtney?
I don't know. I'm a little bit indifferent. Like, it's not my favorite song, but I don't hate it. I did really like the music video. I remember thinking the plot was just cute, and yeah, it was just like a very feel good.
Rachel's always sad until she's happy.
Yeah.
Like, and my favorite part is Rachel Stevens peeking behind the orange or the yellow curtain. And, like, she was just mad. It was cute. But anyway,
I just
so
get irked. I mean, I guess this would be discussion for the U music video, but the heels on the car, like, just irk me.
yeah.
The heels?
With
Yeah,
the
like
and she's
Rachel-
dancing and she's like,
Oh, when you're yeah.
Yeah, not a good look. We can discuss that more in the U episode, Katie, but
yes.
I have the same concerns. Like, that is a classic car, Rachel Stevens. What are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing? So we're going to jump right into it, get going. Katie, did you want to go ahead and take that first episode, The Last Chance, and tell us all about it?
Sure. And feel free to jump in anytime with any comments.
We won't, Katie. We won't do that at all.
Please do. I don't be the monotonous of Miami 7. That was horrible.
It was
So
our first time.
monotone.
It was our first time, Katie. We're 3 seasons in at this point.
Yes.
They know what to expect.
Okay. So, episode 1, Last Chance. As Dale said, new theme song. Still in LA. And like we said in the opening, no Joni, no beach house, no cafe, no Mr. Walters, which makes no sense. Because the whole dilemma, they start off at Griffith Observatory, that they're like, a year later and nothing's changed. Where is Mr. Walters? That there was interest in them. Like, what happened?
He lost interest.
Apparently, they're still in the same city. Like, what the hell?
It's a big city. It's a huge city.
And Joni doesn't have any contact information for him?
Joni's not here anymore.
I know. She fell down the hill with the house. The
Yeah.
earthquake house.
Earthquake house.
That's such a good house. That was such a
So-
good house.
I have a kitty. Okay, yeah, they're reminiscing about a year later and nothing's changed, and Bradley is actually being the motivator here, saying that we gotta think positive. So they decide,
So what you're saying, Katie, is that they can't stop and not give up. Is that what you're saying?
yes,
Don't stop, never give up?
yes.
They just have to hold their head high and
Yeah, so that's what they have to do. It's like they're taking inspiration from their own lyrics.
Yeah.
Sorry. I have.
So, they decide to give themselves 24 hours to find a manager or they're done. So they break off into groups, and Joe and Bradley head to Venice Beach and they see a fortune teller. Hannah and John are down by Capitol Records and they're talking about the smell of success. And Tina, Rachel, and Paul couldn't figure out where they're at. They're somewhere in LA.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
Before you go too much further, Katie, do you realize how many times S Club have been to a psychic or a fortune teller of some kind?
I know artistic differences.
Yeah, I feel like there was one other instance.
That was the Christmas special.
Christmas.
No.
No.
Hold on.
Right.
There's too many. There's too many to count.
No, it's
Look
the Christmas special because the psychic also talks with that weird manager guy.
Cynthia.
So, yeah, that's the Christmas special. But we both had it wrong first. What other one?
I don't know. I just feel like it happens a lot more often than it should.
There is no answer.
There's no answer. I don't have S Club go to the psychic they go to the psychic and or fortune teller and they get it rested a lot.
Yeah.
Like that's just all I've known.
It seems it's the Mandela effect. They don't actually, but it seems like they do.
Yeah.
They're floundering. They're so lost.
Yeah. I don't think I got kicked out of the U.S. yet. Okay. So yeah, Joe and Bradley talk to Mystic Pete, and he's talking about the secret of success is always ask for the money up front, which they actually happen to have money on them right now. How they still have money, I don't know. Like, they've been in LA for so much time. They don't work. Like, how do they have any money? Like, I think we discussed that a lot with LA 7, that logistically it makes no sense whatsoever.
A
Maybe
lot
the
of
parents
don't make
sending
sense.
them money.
Right. So Mystic Pete tells them they end up picking a card out of his special stack, and he says, go to where the big silver birds go to die, make music, there you will find success. So they're like, what the heck? Tina, Paul, and Rachel are just trying to get noticed, and Tina's doing a little flippy dance. And nobody
She's
cares.
so obnoxious. She's so obnoxious with those dancing.
It's LA. And while they're doing that, we see Dean. Actually, I think we see Dean a little. Yeah, we meet Dean a little before that. Where his manager is telling him he needs to find a band as good as sliced bread in 24 hours, or pretty much he's sacked. So we see Dean, and his watch gets stolen. The perp runs away. Tina doing her little dance. She kicks the perp. And so they get his watch back. And Rachel all of a sudden turns into a doctor because she's been watching too much Casualty.
He's got a subcutaneous hematoma. His pulse is irregular. Give him 20 cc's of morphine, 3 yards of Terraline, and a bunch of flowers, preferably delphiniums, and put them in a nice vase on his bedside table.
Speaking of Casualty, do you know 2 S-Clubbers cameoed on it?
Joe and Hannah. John and Hannah, sorry.
John and Hannah, Katie. I'm keeping that in the edit.
Yeah.
Thing about that scene when Rachel goes all off like she's a doctor. The first time when we were watching in Canada, we got the short version of that.
Yeah, we didn't
So
see
it was just a couple things like give it, and then to go. And then when I saw the full version, I was like, whoa, like she went off and she went on way longer. And I remember that very distinctly in my mind.
Yeah, because there's a
how much
part
we
like when
didn't get.
like Rachel grabs the watch from the perp, and you see like Dean kind of like grab it out of her hand, and you see her look like, what? And then it cuts, like the US version. Like,
Yeah.
why is that so vicious? But then when you watch the new version, you see, yeah, US got the crappy versions.
Yeah.
Well, to be clear, Courtney's also from Canada, so they also apparently got a crappy version.
North America, there we go.
Okay.
We'll say North.
Did we get the same stuff like on TV? Is it the same? I have no idea.
I'm going to say no. I think it's probably stuff was cut, but in different ways, because y'all got the Sunshine album, we didn't.
Yeah.
So, what? Yeah. So, it was probably cut in different ways.
Depending on who they didn't want to offend.
Yeah.
Did your guys' Espa party get as butchered as ours did all the time? Like no, anytime they performed at the Hoochie Mama Show Your Nanas, always got cut. Always got muted. Like,
I don't think so.
yeah, ours was
I don't
always...
remember hearing. I always remember hearing it. So yeah.
Yeah. No, our version, every time they performed,
Yeah,
even when
They
they...
just did the O's. Like, they just kept repeating, oh,
Really?
without saying anything in between. This is like, Hoochie Mama, show you not, oh, the boys. Mm-hmm.
That's the version I ever saw. They cut it
TG.
or just muted it. Yeah.
Move on.
Anyway.
Move on.
So,
Same.
so Dean gives them the card and says, if I can help you, let me know. Walks away. Then they read the card and see that he's a talent manager. Like, go right after him. Like, they're just like, oh, he's talent manager. We got to go tell the others. Like, no, go that way.
Also, you never split up. You never split up, Katie. Didn't they learn that in
Into the
No,
unknown.
Yeah, Into the Unknown? You're not supposed to split up. Bad things happen.
Well, nobody died.
So the person who stole the watch almost did if Rachel wasn't there to save him.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, Paul did get hit in the head by a coconut. Like, that's a little dangerous.
It could be, yeah.
So they meet with the others and go back to their new apartment, which not a fan of. I do not like that apartment. Do you remember it? Because Dale
never
watched the episode.
I didn't.
It's just the big brick open
Well, Katie, they
space.
don't have money. What do you expect?
Well, no, from a production point of view. Like, it just looks really weird. They have a big, like, white sheet, like, through half the side. Like, I don't know what they're trying to cover there. But I did notice in it, which rewatching it this time, I never noticed it, like, in previous years. But hanging on their wall is Joni's painting of Bradley.
I never noticed that.
Yeah.
I
I don't know if it's in this specific episode, but I did notice it I want to say
Zach-
in public
Zach,
relations.
if you're listening to this, Zach, go find it and put it right here. There.
What picture, the big picture of Bradley?
Yeah, just to show it.
Screenshot it. So that is there. So they get back to the apartment and they tell the guys, hey, find a manager. And then Paul realized he has a hole in this bucket and he lost the card.
Of course he did.
So they apparently go split up again. And
Terrible idea.
they split up in the exact same place. Like Joe and Bradley go back to Venice Beach by Mystic Pete. Hannah, Paul, and or not Hannah, Paul, Rachel, Paul, and Tina go back in the city. Like, go to new places if you're exploring. Like, what are you doing in the same place? So
They've already been there. There was a whole other season, Katie.
Well, I know, but I mean, for this specific, if you're looking for success, you've already been there. Like, what are you going back to the same exact place for? Dean sees Mystic Pete as well, and he's also told, go to where the big silver bird's going to die. You'll find success. So he runs into Bradley and Joe, and they're like, hey, that's the same as us. And Dean says, well, the only place he can think of is the airplane graveyard outside of town. So, hey, follow me. I'm a stranger. Get in my car. So they drive out there. They call the others. Tina about kicks a cop again. She needs to stop doing that move because it's a little dangerous. And they go out to this big airplane graveyard. And on the way there, Dean asks them, well, he says, do not get into music. It's cutthroat. It's horrible. Don't do it. Then he asks what they do for a living. And Joe, out of all the things she could have said TV aerial business, which is like satellites. Like the most random thing ever. Like that's what 7 British kids came to LA for, is to put up satellites. Because that makes
Stranger
sense.
things have happened.
So Dean is introduced to everybody. And Paul's like, wait a minute. We know you. So they're like, will you be our manager? And you got John in the background, like, we got 20 seconds to break up, and he's just counting. Finally, he said he's confused as heck because they want them to represent him as aerial putter-uppers. And he says yes, and then the other guys realize that he thinks they put up satellites, so they go and Joe and Bradley try to sneak off, and they go and chase him. But they did Dean said yes. So they do have a manager. And they celebrate by singing Show Me Your Colors and signing a contract. I do love the performance.
We need to pause, Katie, before you say anything else. Can we discuss how phenomenal Rachel Stevens looks in the scene?
How did I know?
She is absolutely 10,000% gorgeous.
See, her outfit I love. Like, the ending outfits are fine, but the beginning outfits throughout the day, I'm not loving them. They just don't feel like their style.
I don't even see the other 6 members. It's just Rachel in this scene. It's also a Rachel song. It's the first song I think we get twice.
I was just want to mention, we get a lot.
Yeah.
We get it a lot. It's a fantastic song. It's the first song from Sunshine that I heard, because obviously we didn't get Sunshine in America. I was like 5. I didn't know how to...
Did you not hear Don't Stop Moving?
I mean, obviously I did in the beginning of the episode, but it wasn't a Rachel Stevens-led song, so I didn't care as much, Yeah. Like, right out the gate, we get Rachel Stevens singing a song on the show.
And the production of the performance seems like... Because I've seen the rumors online before that was supposed to be like the music video.
Yes.
So it's a lot bigger production than... usually them standing on a stage and singing.
Yeah.
So,
Like, this could have been a music video, in my opinion. It should have been a music video. It should have been a single. Rachel Stevens should have been on the front of every cover performing it.
Because, I mean, I know we'll discuss it more but with the, we talk about the album, but like they performed Show Me Your Colors at Children in Need, and, they performed it like a single.
Yeah.
So it seems like it should have been a single. It was filmed like a single, but it just never was. But
All right. And we're going to move right on to the second episode, Katie. We're going to move on to Dosh. And Courtney, did you want to talk about Dosh? What does Dosh mean to y'all? Like, without knowing what Dosh is, what would you say it's about?
Knowing?
Without knowing.
You already know, so how can you answer that?
I mean, yeah. But does Dosh scream money to y'all?
It does because I know.
Yeah, like I know now. But let me look up
But
a
we've known
definition.
it for half of our lives. Like, we've known since 2001 what dosh means.
But that was the first time I knew what
No.
dosh meant.
So dosh is informal British slang for money, so it's not just a random word that they made up.
Well, I know that.
I didn't. This is brand new information to me. I Googled it just now. Anyway, Courtney, proceed.
Okay. So Dosh. We open with John, his current love interest, and the stunt lady, Annie Oakley. She works at Universal Studios, and he's very in love with her. Sure he is.
Do y'all remember when John wasn't a fan of Love at First Sight back in Miami?
Mm-hmm.
Look at him now.
He said it was love at first sight because he has been to Universal a lot. This may be the third time he's seen her.
So maybe it's not even love at first sight. It's love at third sight.
Yeah.
So they go on to talk about how they're all so frustrated about money, all their different situations of why they need money and why they're frustrated. Hannah goes on about how she's frustrated that she has these two boys that are interested in her that asked her out. And I always found this was so funny because it's between Nick, who looks like Matt Damon, and Matt, who looks like Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
Oh, they're like not attractive men, in my opinion. And I don't know, that just like, how could you even choose between those two in the first place?
I'm going for the one that looks like Matt Damon.
But then she says she would prefer Sean Connery. It's like, are you even getting better? Like,
Which one's best looking? Well, Nick looks like Matt Damon, and Matt looks like Nicolas Cage.
Well, that's easy. Who'd you like more, Matt Damon or Nick Cage?
Actually, I've always preferred Sean Connery.
Problem solved. You want a date with my granddad then?
Going for straight hall now.
I don't know, what would you rather, like Matt Damon or Nicolas Cage?
Just look for Matt.
And Dale?
I don't have an opinion.
So I always thought that was quite an interesting comparison. So they're talking about how they're so frustrated. Rachel doesn't have anything to wear on her date. Bradley wants money to impress Chloe and take her out. Hannah just wants some fish. Tina wants to go to a new dance studio. It's so expensive. Paul wants to get some new surfing gear. And
I just don't see
Paul
that
has
for Paul.
yeah.
I don't see that for Paul at all.
Yeah, he needs something to spend money on, right? What else is he gonna do?
Food? They always pushed food narratives on Paul and Bradley.
Yeah.
I think food would fit.
Even in, well, Viva, how Bradley has to go on a diet. He's like the fittest of them all.
Yeah.
Well, Paul went on the diet later in this season, too, so.
Yeah, that's true. So, yeah, so they all have their thing that they are frustrated about because they want to have some money. So their checks come in, their advances, and they are so happy about it. So they So they go on their way to spend their dosh, and while they are on their adventure to get all the things they want, they sing "It's All Right,"
Oh my gosh,
which I always love.
Song.
It's such a good song. It's such a good song, Katie. Don't you have lyrics on that song tattooed on you? And we will date.
Little ones.
It's all right.
So it's a great song, and they go running around town, spending their money, going into all the places, all the stores, and it's just like a fun music break that they get into. They get into everything and see them trying stuff on. And yeah, so Joe and Hannah start talking, and Hannah's asking Joe what she spent her money on, and she's basically saying, I'm just gonna put it on my mattress for a rainy day. And she's the logical one.
And it's like, doesn't rain in LA.
Yeah, she's like, there ain't gonna be no more rainy days. We've made it. And yeah, so she said she's gonna save it. And she was a little worried it was like tempting fate if she spends it all. So Joe was using her brain, and after a day of spending all their money, they meet for lunch. And while discussing, they realize they were all paid different amounts of money. So they said basically, you're not going to have any of your, what is it, 5,000? No, yeah, 5,000 left, Rachel, if you keep spending it on all these outfits. She's like, 5,000? Like, we only got 3,000. So they all got different amounts. Paul and Bradley got 5,000, Hannah and Rachel got 3, Tina got 4, and John got 7. So quite the range of amounts.
Yeah, what is
Joe, they never said what Joe got.
I assume hers was more in the lines of like 10, which is why she's like, I'm gonna save this.
She was not saying anything. She's like, oh, you guys are...
I have no comment because, I mean, to be fair, she does sing like 90% of the songs. I'm just throwing that out there. Just throwing that out there.
But it is based on popularity through the kids, not on work at this point.
Well, at this point, I don't think that's fair because Rachel Stevens had more fan sites as a kid. Like, there were more Rachel Stevens fan sites than any other fan sites. Just throwing that piece of information out there.
True. But in this episode, I don't think that came up.
It should have.
They shouldn't have any fan sites because they're not famous yet. This is an alternate universe.
Oh, right.
Good point.
They're just starting. So yeah, they all had different amounts. And then that was an issue. So John goes off on a date with Miss Annie, his love of his life. And she tells him if he wants to make some serious money, he has to get into some stunt work and do some high falls. And she's like borderline manipulative about it. Like she's not suggesting it nicely. She's like, I'll really like you if you
Real men do this.
yeah.
Meanwhile, you have a broken arm.
Yeah, just like almost like nothing serious happens like anytime. Just pat my crutches.
Yeah. Is it every time she gets on camera she's broken something else?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now like a neck brace by the end.
Yeah. So she's like, we're just gonna do a high fall. Like, I believe in you, baby. Like, you can do it. So he's like, okay, well, I guess it's my solution because I need money and I want her to love me, so I'm gonna risk my life for her. And so they meet with Dean, and he explains they have been focus grouped, and the members of the group who are most popular amongst these kids of, what are they, like 8, 9-year-old kids, they get the most money if the kids like them. And ironically, John came out as most popular since he's always the least popular one in the group. The kids found him most popular, which I thought was endearing.
Who said he's the least popular?
In the episodes, he's always like the nerdy, like geeky, like, you know, I would say he's portrayed as the least popular. He's the most popular. John makes the most money because he's most popular amongst the kiddos. And they all gave him a hard time about that.
Can I just say I love when you say about?
About?
About.
A boat?
Do I say it funny?
No.
Well, no, you say it very Canadian.
I want to know what you hear. Can you impersonate me?
Like about?
About.
Like about? Like you put an emphasis on the O.
About. About.
I don't know if we said it the way that you say it that you would even. Yeah, you wouldn't hear it because it's right to you.
Yeah, you say like a boat. Like kind of like.
But we say about.
Like a boat?
Yeah. That's basically what you're saying, a boat.
A boat. Interesting.
Yeah.
But it's fine because we make fun of the Cape of saying 1999.
99.
1999.
I love how he says that.
Did too.
So Dean makes it clear that they should have no contact with the kids. That will pollute the sample, and it just can't happen. But Rachel and Hannah have their own plan, and they hack into Dean's computer, which gives me some strong Agent Cody Banks vibes from Hannah.
Also, Rachel is notoriously computer. Like she.
Well, that's why Hannah's there,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
This is the brains of this operation. Rachel just takes along.
He was probably the distraction for the security guard.
Oh, that's smart. The security guard at Dean's office.
Yes.
We're really high up on the scale here. So they hack into the computer and they guess the password because obviously, what does Dean call himself? The Dean machine. And they get in and get the addresses of all the kids and their names. And then they go off and meet them and bribe them with money and trips and ice cream and all the things, hoping to become more popular. But shortly after, they start realizing that money is not all it's cracked out to be. And this is the following scene. So Bradley, his skate gets stolen. He bought new rollerblades with his money, and someone nicked his left rollerblade. And then he falls because he thinks he's on the wrong foot, and it's typical Bradley.
You notice every time he mentions Chloe, it's Chloe from the Beach Calf. Like,
Chloe from the Beach Calf.
like it's not just
Like,
Chloe.
we don't know at this point. Like,
Yeah.
Chloe from Beach Calf. And yeah, Tina is all upset because the people at her dance studio, they mocked her for having a British accent and called her the queen or a member of the royal family.
Oh my God. And the way Tina
does
says, the queen.
I sound like the queen.
Like, so
That was the
like,
mom.
brain. Yeah. Yeah. So ingrained in my mind. It's so annoying. That's which honestly I don't understand. Why would you get teased that you have a British accent? That's like
Americans, we're just going to say Americans are stupid. Like, they're just stupid. Sorry, fellow Americans. As an American, I'm saying you're stupid. I have no regrets. Y'all can deport me if you want.
Yeah, you want to be deported anyway.
I want to be deported so bad. Full U.S. citizen, but deport me.
Put you to someplace else. All right, and then the other frustration about having the money and not being happy, Paul, he ended up putting a lot of his money into stocks, and the stock market crashed. So
He was an expert. Like, you don't just put money in stocks. Like,
he probably put 90% of it, and the rest he bought a surfboard. Yeah,
He probably put it into like Best Buy or at Circuit City.
Yeah.
Circuit City, Radio Shack.
In case anyone doesn't know, these companies don't exist anymore, but they did in 2001.
Best Buy still does.
They were
the city and Radio
Best
Shack.
Buy.
Yeah.
Sorry. But Circuit
Yeah, so
City
they're
and
all
Radio
bummed
Shack
out.
closed.
They're all bummed out that money isn't all cracked up to be. They wasted their money on, and they're not still happy. They realize that money is not buying happiness. So they go and have their meeting with Dean. He called them in because there has been a change in the rankings of who is most popular. And Hannah and Rachel are quite piqued their interest. They're like, "Oh, really? Oh, I wonder who's most popular." But he tells them that they are least popular and they dropped in their rankings. And in that point, out of frustration, they start ratting on the kids because, we couldn't afford to buy him another tub of Chunky Monkey ice cream. That's that little squirt. So Dean's pissed.
That's not what they wanted to say.
Yeah,
No,
that's
they're
not what they were looking for. No, but so Dean's mad at them because they polluted the sample, ruined the sample, got to get a new sample. And then they go for a walk and they come up to a movie set. So John is supposed to do his free fall.
So not even question at this point where John is. They're like, we're going to go ahead and meet with Dean, and John's just non-existent.
Not there.
Yeah.
And the only, what is it? Is it Joe? She's like, you guys didn't even remember that he had his fall today?
Yeah.
So maybe she's the only one that really knew where he was.
Yeah. Nobody else cared.
No. But of course,
Joe.
Joe's the sensible one that has saving her money. So she has the head on her shoulders right now.
Well, John is the sensible kid.
He's the sensible kid, according to his
Howard.
boss, Howard.
Miami 7 days.
So they walk up to the movie scene that John's supposed to do his free fall from, and they see a man falling from the sky. So they run over thinking that John's killing himself. They're like, you have so much to live for. And they go rush over and check the dumpster and ruin the scene and realize that it's just the stunt double and John didn't do his jump. And they were so happy. And In the end, they decided to pool all their money together so that they would all have equal amounts, equality for all the members, boys and girls.
Within the S Club, all men and women are created equal.
This doesn't feel very fair for John, you know?
Yeah.
He's a good sport. I'm sure that he's okay with it.
But
So did you notice, when they were walking and they see John up there, what Tina was wearing? I mean, Dale wouldn't have noticed because he didn't watch the episode.
didn't.
She was wearing a jean skirt.
Oh,
Not the jean skirt.
the good old jean skirt.
The jean skirt.
love
This where it
the jean
originated.
It wasn't as it wasn't a short jean skirt, but it wasn't as long as normal. It was like little past the knees. It was the fashion of wearing that with the t-shirt, yeah. But
Next
so
time
as I saw that,
Tina-
I was like, look at
next time I interview Tina, I'm bringing up the jean skirt.
Yeah.
So we're going to move on to the third episode, which I'm going to argue is the best episode.
It was the worst.
So,
Sorry.
Katie, take careful with your words, Katie. So, if anyone remembers in our Don't Stop Moving episode, we talked with Bud, and he let us know that his website is what drove him into his career in web development. So, his little Rachel Stevens website is what brought him into his career as a web developer. And it's the same thing for Dale. Like, while I don't work in public relations, I do have a degree in public relations just for this S Club episode. Because I like to manipulate things, which is what I do with the World of S Club weekly. So if y'all go to the World of S Club, that is me manipulating things.
That's why I didn't like you for 20 years.
So episode 3 begins with S Club reading celebrity gossip magazines. And then they have some, like, they tell ridiculous stories of the different celebrity things occurring. And then Dean enters and advises that they've hired a PR expert, Lovely Aspinall. Lovely Aspinall, Katie. Laspinall.
What a name, hey?
Well, I'm wondering if they got the name, like the Aspinall, from, because Gail Aspinall is like their tour producer. So I'm wondering if it was based on
There's
her
a
name.
lot of names in this episode that I think are based off of other people. Like, obviously it is. So we'll get through those, but it is possible, Katie. So Lovely comes in and promises a big sponsorship deal to Bradley and Paul. Promises that the girls will be on the cover of every magazine and newspaper. John is going to have a very high-profile romance with Jewel Twang, which is a combination of the singer Jewel and Shania Twain in my head. That's what I got from that.
Yeah.
Same.
And then we cut back to the S Club apartment where Joe enters wearing a lovely dress and glasses. So Joe is just gorgeously decked out in this. What color would y'all say that was? Like a yellow?
It's a taupe.
Taupe. It's a very gorgeous dress, and she has these big dark sunglasses. And all she knows is that she's supposed to go outside to meet a woman named Sherry. That's all she knows. She's going to go outside and meet a woman named Sherry. So she goes outside.
The clothes you want to wear.
Yeah. She's going to be, they know there's going to be big photographers. She needs to be gorgeous. So Joe goes outside to meet Sherry, and there's a lot of photographers, and Sherry advises that she's Joe's mom, and she had to travel the world, and she found God on a bus, and that she's her long-lost mom. Joe says the lines, "I'm not long, I'm not lost, and you're not my mom." And I just had to incorporate that because I need y'all in Joe's Essex accent just saying that. Like, it's very powerful. I'm not long, I'm not lost, and you're not my mum.
Look, I'm not long, I'm not lost, and you are not my mum.
Yeah.
And I just love that they say mum other than mom. Mum. So John is then introduced to Jewel Aspinall. And she immediately
Jewel
calls...
Twang.
What?
You just said Jewel Aspinall.
That is what I wrote down. No, I'm right. I just wrote down Jewel. So John is introduced to Jewel and immediately calls John a geek and saying that she would rather have Ricky Martin because John's a geek and she'd rather have Ricky Martin. So Jewel needs to figure out where she went wrong in her life to be attracted exclusively to gay men.
Maybe
You
she's
know?
gay herself and she just wants
possible.
fame.
And like this is right around the time that Avril Lavigne came out, and her and Avril Lavigne do kind of look similar. John and Jewel are paparazzied at the beach where they are awkwardly interviewed and forced to kiss. And being the girl that Jewel is, John immediately threw up.
I love that this is like the first time we hear Jonathan.
Yeah, and that's the first time anyone calls him Jonathan. 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 It's me.
That's me.
So that is why that is exclusively the reason. So S Club then reconvenes at the S Club party, S Club apartment, where they just go over the rumors of John and Jewel. John expresses his disapproval of the relationship and wants to break up with her, but he's told by pretty much everyone that he needs to keep it for, the approval of the band, like the publicity that this is bringing to the band. Keep in mind, they don't have any music out.
Yeah.
They don't what are they promoting? This doesn't make any sense. Usually they do PR stints around releases.
They don't even have a record deal.
No. So we don't know. And at the end of this, Joe enters with Sherry shouting, Joe, let me in, let me in. Joe shouts, "You're not my mom, get out." And I think it's just hilarious because she's so mad. Like, "You're not my mom, get out." And then cut to Hannah and Rachel on the show of the Jerry Swinger show. Jeffrey Springer, which is obviously Jerry
Swinger.
Jeffrey Swinger, which is obviously a play on Jeffrey Springer. Jerry Springer. Jerry Springer, Katie. That's what it is. It's a Jerry Springer knockoff. And, Hannah and Rachel, they're just there promoting. They just signed a new management deal. And they did say that they filmed a new record. They signed a new record deal. They didn't. Okay, we didn't see it. That doesn't mean it didn't happen, Katie.
Because it happens in the next episode.
Well, according to this, they signed a new record deal. Jeffrey advises that they are not there to talk about their new record deal, their new management deal, their new songs or new albums. They're there to talk about Frank, Katie. They're there to talk about Frank and how he's been dating Rachel for 6 months and Hannah for 5 months. And that's
an asshole, eh?
That is such an asshole move. Like, how are you going to date these two gorgeous women? But don't you worry, Katie. They weren't dating Frank. They were dating his brother. They were dating his twin brother, Mikey. They were dating the twin brother, Mikey. And then they come out and they fight. Very Jerry Springer style fight. And it had to be broken up by the bodyguards because Mikey isn't even the real brother. Or Jeffrey isn't the real brother. Who isn't the real brother?
Jeffrey's not a brother. Jeffrey's the
Jeffrey's. These names are just so confusing, Katie.
Frank and Mikey,
they fight. They just fight. So they cut off and they go to Tina walking down the street. And, Tina's expressing her hesitation to Lovely. She's like, all the other ones what?
No, just saying her name. It's just funny.
So Lovely, is that not what I said?
No, I said it. I'm just Lovely ass. No.
Yeah.
Okay, so Tina's like, look, bad things have happened to everyone else. I don't want bad things to happen to me. And Lovely is reassuring her, look, you look great. Everything's great. Everything's going to be fine. You just need to put this on real quick, and throws on a hospital gown. And up comes an influx of press, and Lovely proudly admits that Tana. I'm just making up names at this point. I'm making up entire names. I obviously needed more rest last night. So she throws on a hospital gown to Tina and says Tina has had extensive plastic surgery. She has Dolly Parton's nose, Barbra Streisand's ears, and one of Jennifer Lopez's eyebrows. Or is it just one of...
But then what does the celebs have? If she's got Barbra Streisand's nose, what does Barbra Streisand have?
I have no idea, Kate. I just exist in the world. So Tina's like, no, I have not had any plastic surgery. This is fake, blah, 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 so on and so forth. And then Lovely spins it like a PR relations person does. She spins it and she says, do you hear that? She's surgery phobic. And then they just come back and they're like, what? Tina's scared of surgery? And then Tina's like, no. That's how that happened.
I do
So,
love how they do the transitions of the camera flash of black and white between each time.
Yeah,
Like,
like
it's specific to that episode. Yeah.
Like, this is the moment that everything went wrong.
Yeah.
So S Club once again reconvene at a cafe, but not the LA7 cafe, Katie. They don't know anything about that in this season. But they
something
sure.
about that last scene. What I thought was so strange is that when she's like, "What do you mean you haven't had anything done? Like, this is LA." And then Tina says, like, "Do you have like a chipmunk's head in your brain or something like that?" And she's like, "No, but like I've had botulism injected into my cheekbones." I'm just like, botulism in your cheekbones? That's like the furthest thing from any like.
Yeah,
I don't
like,
know. That's a huge red flag.
Yeah, and then she, like, after she said that, kind of look at her, I was like, yeah, you do look kind of wonky. You do look kind of wonky, lovely.
Well, yeah, when Tina says something to her about, do you have whatever? She's like, what's it called? Why? Is it good? Like,
Yeah, should I?
yeah.
Okay. So S Club reconvene at a cafe to discuss the latest rumors, and the girls just want everything to stop. They're like, this is too much. This is a step too far. You know, they're not talking about our music. They're not talking about us as a band. They're just spreading lies. But John and Bradley aren't having it because all publicity is good publicity, Katie. Which is how we run World of S Club. Send us hate mail. It's fine. So we cut to Jewel and John on a swing at the beach. I didn't know that they had those swings on the beach, but it looks really fun.
Yeah.
Like, it looks really fun.
I've seen them.
And Jewel says that she has a new album coming out and John needs to propose. And John says he would rather marry a ferret. It would have less facial hair. So John and Jewel break up. John just keeps saying it's over. It's over, it's over, it's over, it's over, it's over. As the paparazzi come, Courtney, like the paparazzi are there. And then she's like, no, he didn't mean it. And he's like, no, I do. It's over. And that's just beautiful. And then
My favorite insult of all is Jules' insult to him. And I used that, like, as a kid, I insulted my siblings multiple times with it, the useless piece of geek. Like, I use that insult, like, all the time growing up. Like, I would tell my siblings they're useless piece of geeks.
well, the most influential thing happens in this moment. As John and Jewel are fighting on the swings, the unreleased song, Everybody Get Pumped, is played in the episode. We don't get this song officially until 2003. It belongs on Sunshine. It belongs there, Katie. And we can talk more about that in the Sunshine episode. I see your face, and I don't like your face in this instance, but it belongs.
Face either.
It belongs on the Sunshine album. So Bradley and Paul go to Lovely's office to find out what their sponsorship deals are, and they list a bunch of things that they would like to do sponsorships for, but those aren't available because they aren't manly enough for various things and like other ridiculous things that they aren't suited. And the only sponsorship that they got, 2 sponsorship offers, one from the Windleberry Wig Company, and one for incontinence pants, which are basically adult diapers. Katie, I don't know if you knew that.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. John enters the apartment where the girls are seemingly just playing poker. And he announces to the girls that he's broken up with Jewel. And they reassure him that it was the right decision. And he's like, well, what about the band? What about Paul and Bradley? And they walk in. Paul and Bradley walk in and they're like, we're sick of these lies. These lies have gone too far, as they're wearing wigs because they accepted the sponsorship deal for the Windleberry Wig Factory. And then they go, they leave the apartment and they run around town stealing all of the newspapers that feature them while singing You, the theme song You. I noted that I still hate this song. It is in the notes. But the performance is fun, and like they keep doing like solo shots of just like Rachel on I don't know what she's on, but she's not moving, but all the other S Clubbers are running behind her, and then it switches to Bradley on it.
It's just a seated camera.
It makes no sense. Like, why are they on a seated camera running through the streets of LA? We don't know.
I just always wonder what
It looks cool.
like the people that are there as well, like the background, like what are they thinking when they see this?
I'm sure they don't care because they're used to
Like
seeing
right on Venice Beach. It's not like it's in random parts of LA. Like it's right on Venice Beach, like the tourist district. Like,
So, as Club are performing you, they're ripping down magazines. John passes a wall that has photos of him and Jewel, just Jewel, and then other pictures of him and Jewel on like the beach area. And he's just ripping them down. And then randomly in the background, there's a full poster of S Club 7.
I noticed that. Yeah.
Like just a random ass poster from their official merch line in 2000. Like, what? And then they drop all of the magazines and newspapers and everything off at Lovely's apartment or office.
One of the magazines I also grab is John. You see John's magazine from LA7 when he had the acne.
The pimple guy. Yeah, I was gonna mention that too. I love spotting that one. I was like, oh, they just bring things back.
So then it cuts back to S Club in the apartment where they're reading news of Lovely Aspinall's office being vandalized and basically like thousands of magazines that S Club just dropped off, but she was not pressing charges. So S Club are not getting arrested in this season. Don't worry about it.
They don't have to run away again.
They don't have to. But later they do.
They might.
And as they're reminiscing, the commercial for Bradley and Paul's Windleberry Wig Company commercial airs. Like at that very moment. It's very weird. Because this isn't like a high quality
incident or something.
Yeah, it's almost like it was planted. But it's not like a high quality commercial. This is more something that you would picture to be aired after 10 p.m. After 10, like it just doesn't seem like a prime time commercial, you know? It's not a Super Bowl.
People that need wigs are losing their hair and they're old and they're in bed by 10. Like, it needs to be like mid-afternoon.
Not the clientele they're looking for.
Well, after the ridiculous wig thing, we pan back to S Club, who are now all wearing wigs. They all have wigs on, and someone says, Hannah, I like your wig. And she's like, what do you mean wig? This is my real hair. And she has just like jet black long hair at this point.
It was the same wig from Game Boy.
Yeah, I was going to say. Weird.
Yeah.
When one did she wear during Zelda? Which one was that?
That was
Zelda one.
The black one. Game Boy.
That's black one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I do have one random fact for this. One of the magazines featuring S Club was utilized in the movie GBF. So the main character sitting on the couch reading a magazine and it has S Club on the front of it. And it's from this episode.
Remember that? Yeah.
So that is GBF, which again stands for Gay Best Friend.
You're my gay best friend.
Am I really?
Yeah.
Oh. Look at me. Love that. You're a friend, Katie. You're a friend. I'm just kidding. But that concludes this episode of Public Relations. So, Katie, did you want to hop on doing the deal? Are you ready? You ready? This is the final episode we're going to recap in this episode.
Episode 4. Okay.
Episode
4. So, we start off with the band in Dean's office. And Dean's talking to them. And he can't just come right out and say it. He's like, we're going to talk about what you need. And they're like, you don't have it, but you need it and you have to have it. And they're like, you know what that is? And they're just, Paul's like, I don't have a 6-foot-tall supermodel girlfriend. And like, I don't have this. I don't have that. Like, just say what you need, dude. They need a record deal. Which does not seem like their problem. Like, that's Dean's issue. Like, he's putting the stress on the band. Like, you guys need to find a record deal.
Like, what are they paying him for?
Yeah, you need to find the record deal, dude. Like, that's not my problem. So, Dale just disappeared. Alright. So they pull up to a new house, and which I prefer this house over the apartment they were in a couple episodes ago. But it's still not better than the LA house. Like, nothing beats that LA house.
It was so good.
But I do feel like this house feels like more S Club than that apartment did.
So is this the Romeo and Michelle house, or was that LA7?
I didn't know that was a Romeo and Michelle house.
Did you know Romeo and Michelle's high school reunion, Courtney?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's the same apartment as one of them. I don't remember which one.
Is it not the... It may be the outer shell of the one they were just in.
No, it was the one with all the colors. I think that was the LA house.
I'll have to watch. But I think I've seen that enough at home that I feel like I would have known that by now. Because my sister loves that movie.
Okay, well, go ahead and rewatch it and let us know in the next episode. Thanks.
Okay, whatever. So, they get the new house. Management's going to pay for it. So far, they're just doing 1 month to see if they get the record deal. Dean also got their car fixed, so they're back to the classic red. Not the same car as Miami, but it is a red convertible. And so they go to move in.
Is it the same one that we see in Seeing Double, Katie?
Could be, probably.
Probably not.
Maybe an updated version, because that one's probably kaput by now. I find it funny, though, that they go to move into this house. And again, they pull all 7 luggages out of the trunk of the car.
Mm-hmm. I
And
don't know why you keep questioning this, Katie. It's real. It could happen.
they've been there 3 years, and that's all the luggage they have.
Yeah, they only have 22 episodes. They only have 22 episodes per, or 22 outfits per season.
Yeah, but then just last episode, or 2 episodes ago, Rachel was buying all those outfits. Where did they go?
It doesn't have
That
to make sense,
whole
Katie.
closet.
It doesn't
Come
have to make
on.
sense.
It has to make sense to me. The band is waiting at home for the phone to ring to see if they got a record deal. And they play Everybody Gets Pumped again, as everybody's like laying around the couch. And John, of
Such
course,
a good
is,
song.
what time is it? And Tina's like, it's midnight. He's like, what time is it again? She's like, midnight 4 seconds. They're just sitting around bored. And here comes Hannah. And they're like, of course, they don't, where have you been? Like, they just lose members and don't realize that they do. Because everybody's questioning where Hannah was. And she was on a date. Nobody questions where Hannah is. She's just, left the house. And so Hannah says she was on a date with a guy named Charlie. So Joe starts pestering her, asking, if she likes him. And she's like, I know you're going to like him because first date, you're not that bothered. Second date, and then by third date, you're in love. And she's like, tonight's the third
Relatable.
date. Yeah, not me. As we currently know. I just lost my train of thought. So Joe's like, you're on your third date, so that means you're in love because I know you so well. And Hannah's like, no, you don't know me that well because I'm not too keen on him and I'm going to dump him. So she wanders off and says goodnight, and Joe says goodnight, and Hannah's like, you think I'm going to bed? And she's like, well, yeah, I know you. Hannah doesn't want to prove Joe right, but after they walk away, she's like, yeah, I'm going to bed. Next morning, Joe and Paul are eating breakfast. Joe is saying how she can predict the future because she says Hannah's going to walk down the stairs. She's going to stretch. She's going to sneeze 3 times, rub her nose, and go make herself a peanut butter and banana sandwich.
No, it's peanut butter banana sandwich.
Yes, peanut butter
Say it
banana.
correctly.
Because that's what Hannah does every day. They watch Hannah, and it shows Hannah's right. Later that evening, Hannah's upset because she's like, we've waited, all day for a call from the record company, and now she's waited all day for Charlie to come pick her up, and he hasn't shown. And Joe's like, oh yeah, well, he called, and I told him that you weren't that bothered with him, and you were going to dump him. So Hannah's upset about that. And then...
That wasn't Joe's business to tell.
Yeah, that's a little out of line.
Like, y'all can't just break up with people. That was Hannah that needed to do that.
Well, hence that's why Joe ended up with a milkshake on her head.
Poor Joe.
We'll predict that.
So, yeah, Hannah was pissed. Because also, on top of, because Hannah's like, well, you gotta ring him, tell you made a mistake. And Joe's like, no, I think he's seeing someone else. She's like, well, who? Well, he's kind of asked me out. Which, Joe's turning into Bradley. That's a Bradley.
Scandalous Joe.
Yeah.
That's not what sisters do.
Yeah. So, Hannah pours the milkshake on Joe's head. Joe retaliates by pulling Hannah's mattress with her on it. All the way out, like, how? I don't know. Of course,
Down all of the stairs. Down all of the stairs.
Well, they're in the house now.
You just said that she walked down the stairs.
Well, true. She could have a downstairs bedroom. Some of them did.
But Hannah didn't, because why else would she wake up, scratch her bum, sneeze 3 times, come downstairs and make a peanut butter banana sandwich?
No.
It's not scratching the bum.
No, scratching her nose.
But now, why would she do that if she had a downstairs bathroom, Katie?
I agree. Good point.
Anyway, he was coming from the bathroom.
No, because she wouldn't have just woken up.
No, because the bathroom's actually right down by the stairs. That's what, like, I like to know where stuff is in houses.
Just
that
so you
house-
can build it on The Sims, Katie.
I know.
Stop.
But I can't figure out that house because there's too many rooms and corridors everywhere. So, Hannah wakes up on the beach. She tracks all the way back home. And Joe's just sitting there smiling at her. It's like, haha. But she finds out they have a meeting with Dean. And Hannah realizes, she's like, oh, I gotta go to the laundrette. I didn't do any laundry. And Joe starts pestering her, like, you always forget to go to the laundrette. They have a lot of, like, it's very British in this scene. And
Yeah, Katie, it's only been 3 seasons, but you might not know this, but it is a British band.
I know, but I mean, when they say a lot of British terms and the accent.
Like
and
dosh.
all that. Yes.
You know what that means, still?
It's informal slang for money.
Yeah.
Oh. Good to know.
So, Hannah's like, well, you guys are too mean to let me borrow any clothes. And Joe's like, well, that's because they're too big for you, shorty. If fitted you, you can borrow them. But she says
the Hannah Short jokes.
But she made it, that's another British thing, because it's like, if they fitted you, you can borrow him. Like, they're missing like half the syllables in the words there. I can't say it like Joe, but.
If you fit him, you can borrow him.
Sure.
Get McKay on here. No. Sorry.
He's never going to say that to us again. Or for us again.
Well, he wouldn't need to, because we're not, like, I can force it out of him. It's fine.
Okay. So they're all waiting around for Hannah because she still hasn't showed up, because she's like, I'll figure something out. So Joe goes and finds her, and she's by their pool patio area cutting up Joe's clothes. Because she said, well, you said I could borrow them if they fit me, so now they all fit me. And Joe's like, well, I didn't mean you should destroy them. And Hannah comes back with, well, I didn't mean you could steal my boyfriend. Like, that's...
Home wrecker.
Yeah. So, Joe's like, I didn't. And Hannah's like, snip, snip, snip. Like, them two are just sassy with each other. So they go meet Dean, and Dean's like, well, I had to talk with all the record people. And this one wants this money with that, with this. This money wants this and this and this, which, the band's like, in English, please. So pretty much they all said no. But there's one company that they need to think about it. Bradley, Paul, and Hannah talk about after this, just if once they get a record deal, if fame is going to change them. And Hannah's like, no, it's not going to change me. And they're both like, yeah, it will. And so it cuts to a scene where Hannah runs up to Bradley on the beach, but Hannah looks totally different. She's like, yeah, I have everything done. I've got my eyes done and everything else. Which, as a U.S. viewer, this confused me because that scene was not in the U.S. version. In the U.S. version, that scene is not there. But in the credits, there is someone credited as new Hannah. And it confused me so much. I'm like, which scene was not actually Hannah? That they all look like Hannah. So I'm think there's like a...
And I think the actress that played New Hannah is a successful person. Like, she's a notable celebrity.
I'll have to Google it because I don't remember
Because
what the name was.
They released a promo pic of it. Like, there's a promotional picture of that.
Yeah.
So it was out for a reason.
But yeah, I didn't... Like, I'm like, is there a doppelganger somewhere in here of Hannah that I can't spot? Like, it was so confusing. So they're at the house, and Hannah shows up and said she nearly got arrested. There's your arrested, Dale.
So many arrests.
And she says, well, they're like, why? And Hannah's like, for being small, annoying, and in a public area. Or Joe says that to Hannah. Of course, they're just nonstop. And the other girls are like, knock it off. And they're like, oh, nah, we haven't even started. So it cuts to a montage. Hannah puts the centipede in Joe's bed. Joe retaliates by putting a spider in Hannah's bed. Neither of them are really affected by that one. Then Hannah put a sign that says, kick me, on the back of Joe, and Joe gets kicked. Side note on that, I don't know if either of you knew this. The guy who kicks Joe was Joe's fiance at the time, Lee. Yes. I actually did not realize this. My sister spotted this.
What?
Because if you watch the carnival, the behind the scenes of the carnival, where Joe is in the hotel room talking about her boyfriend Lee, it shows a picture of him. And that picture is a screenshot of the episode because you see Joe off to the side with the sign that says kick me.
Did not know that.
So
Sorry.
Joe gets kicked. Hannah's got a sign that says punch me. Like, that's a little vicious. Hannah puts slime in Joe's shoe. Hannah and Joe are eating, I'm guessing breakfast, lunch, whatever. They're eating sandwiches. And Bradley's making himself a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And he opens a can of peanut butter and a snake comes out. Joe says that was for Hannah. He opens the cupboard. A punching mitt, or whatever they're called, comes out and punches him in the face. And Hannah's
Going
like,
too
sorry.
far.
Sorry,
Going
Hannah.
too far, Katie.
Sorry, Brad. That was for Joe. So he's like, you guys need to knock it off. And Brad's like, Joe, just break up with Charlie. She's like, well, I did, because he was boring. You were right. And she's like, you can have him back. And Hannah's like, I don't want him back. I didn't want him before you wanted him. And they're like, well, why are we fighting? So like, okay, call a truce. Bradley comes and sits down, and the chair breaks because one of them sabotaged it. They go to the pier, waiting on the record company. Dean says that, they don't know yet what the record company wants. They want to see you perform. And Bradley's like, we don't need them. They can shove it, blah, blah, blah. While the record company's right behind Dean. They go and perform. They perform Don't Stop Moving. And so then record company starts chatting. And they're like, we can't just sit here and look at them. Like, let's try to look aloof. Let's smile. Okay, let's just turn the other way. And of course, John's like trying to dissect everything this guy's doing. Like, he's waving his hands. What does it mean? And they turn around.
I always found that scene so funny.
Yeah.
As a kid. That scene.
drinking
Like, I
coffee.
rewinded it. Yeah.
And Paul's
Drinking coffee.
what does it mean? And, is it a good thing? And Paul's like, not like, if it's like Mike, it's not. So they turn around, not stare at him, and the guy comes and he's like, hi. And John's like, he just said hi. What does it mean? Like, that's love. And Paul's like, yeah, enough. So they turn around and talk to the guy, and he's like, what did I think? And then he says he loved it. So we celebrate. So they got a record deal. Yay, the end. Which, side note,
Fantastic.
if you're a Pretty Little Liar fan, what's it called? The main guy for the record company is Hannah's dad on Pretty Little Liars. Just FYI.
Fun. So many Hannahs. So that is the end of our first episode of Hollywood 7. Did you have so much fun, Courtney?
Yeah, the blast.
So much fun. So y'all can join us next week where we will go over 4 more episodes. And in the meantime, if you would like to chat with us, you can follow Courtney over on our Discord, Courtney. Are you so excited for people to follow you on Discord?
Yes.
Do you want to shout out your Instagram or do you not want people to follow you there?
No, they're welcome to follow me. It's Courtney_brand X.
Beautiful. Unless you're that one person that we don't want to follow her because you're currently blocked, so don't make a new account. I'm just kidding. You can follow KATEY at KATEY_Carmen on all the socials. Please like, comment, and subscribe on the YouTube or on the Spotify or on the Apple Podcasts. Leave us comments. We love to hear from you. We'd love to hear from you. And until next week, we will see you then.
Hey, can we just make a comment how much LA7 Courtney looks? Like, come on. Like,
Yeah,
she's got the attire down.
We love Jess and we love Courtney.
Yeah.
They are our inspo boards.
Yeah.
Our inspiration boards. Anyway,
I am pulling
until
my
next week,
info
y'all have
Tina Fluid 7 anyways.
I mean, people think you are Tina.
She's like a mix between Tina and Hannah, right?
They're sisters.
Cousins.
Yeah, how did wear
She made Hannah. That's what you were saying earlier. You called her Tina earlier. Yeah.
Hannah.
She's Tana.
We have, like, I named someone and now they just exist.
Yeah.
Everyone, her name is now Tana.
Love it.
I'm going to change it on Discord.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, bye, everybody.
Bye.
You're listening to the SClubBeat with Dale and KATEY.